The access road is now open on the Beverly Salem Bridge. This is the second largest construction project going on in the entire state of Massachusetts. The Veterans Memorial Bridge is scheduled to open in November of 1996. Coming up, we'll give you an update and tell you what's happening. Behind me, you can see there have been a lot of changes here at the Beverly Salem Bridge, now known as the Veterans Memorial Bridge. With us, we have the Commissioner of the Massachusetts Highway Department, Lorenda Bedingfield. Lorenda, tell us about what's been happening over the summer.
Well, sure. Throughout the summer and now at this point, as you can see, we've pretty much come up out of the water. We have all of our piers in place, and the cofferdams are in place, and we're dewatering, and we're at various stages of construction on those cofferdams. Some of the piers have been sealed and poured, the footings are in place, and they're actually coming out of the water, and in some cases they're pretty much at the water level and ready to come up beyond the water level.
So construction's proceeding on time over the summer?
Yeah, the schedule's been going great. Right now we're probably around 30% complete with the entire project. We're hoping that we can start the structural steel work maybe in February. We will be working throughout the winter.
How will that affect traffic?
We have the, as people have probably noticed, we have the bypass road in now, and traffic should pretty much be as good as it was before. We're going to put in a couple of signalized intersections for the project to mitigate any possible traffic problems. We really don't think that the project has caused traffic problems, but we're going to be putting in the signalized intersections in case there are any coming up through the winter months.
Right. So the traffic's adapted pretty well to the access road system?
So far, yeah. Okay. I mean, I've heard some information from people in the area that they feel that it goes just as smoothly now as it did before, and of course that wasn't too smoothly because of the bridge openings and closings. So right. it was a bad situation before. It has been for a long time, and I don't think people have noticed all that much of a change because of the construction in terms of the traffic.
Regularly during the summer months, traffic's backed up.
Yeah, it's been a nightmare here, as all the residents and all of your listenership probably knows, you know.
So with the new bridge, we'll have no more of that waiting.
Absolutely. With this new bridge, there won't be a wait. Yeah. People will be able to just zip right over.
So the residents and businesses surrounding this project, no complaints or very little?
There probably have been some here and there, and the contractor has been great, and our people on the job have been great working with residents and with the businesses, and we've tried to accommodate them in any way that we possibly can on the project. Mass Highway Department and Chimbro have instituted a partnership process, which is something that's new to the way business is conducted between a contractor and an owner. And we tried it out on this project first. It's one of our largest projects in the state.
This is the first time you've done this?
That's right. This is the first time we've done it on a statewide highway department job. It's been tried in some other states in the country, and Massachusetts is somewhat of a pioneer in the use of this concept, this partnering concept, for the design stages before construction. But we're trying it during the construction stage on this project, and it's been working out great. There's been a lot of cooperation between the department, the contractor, people who live in the area, any interest groups, that kind of thing, and other regulatory agencies that are involved in the project, such as DEP and the Coast Guard, etc.
So in your opinion, the fact that it's a partnership type of deal, it's really helped alleviate the problem?
Sure. The fact that it's a partnership and people recognize each other's goals and objectives and are out to help each other achieve those goals and objectives, which, by the way, are pretty much the same goals and objectives, and that is to finish the job on schedule, maybe even a little ahead of schedule if we possibly can, have a quality product and have a safe job while we're doing it, and have very minimal impact to the traveling public.
Speaking of when this job will be completed,
sure.
What are they?
It's scheduled for November of '96, And we're doing very well with the schedule. We're hoping that we can find some places to kind of accelerate the schedule, and hopefully we'll be finished early, but I really can't promise that at this point. We have to get a little further down the road to see if we're going to be finishing up early. But we'll know a little bit more when we get into the spring and summer of next year.
So have any unexpected problems come up? Anything unusual, unexpected?
Nothing unusual of an engineering nature. We had done a lot of site exploration out here. The engineers did a good job in terms of the design, and they've pretty much found things as predicted. If you're going to have any problems, it's at this stage where you're working with the foundation system and materials underground. That's usually where you find all of your surprises.
Right.
And from what I've seen on this project, there haven't been a tremendous amount of surprises. There are little things here and there, but nothing that would hold us up.
Okay. So far, so good. Everything's worked very well.
Yep. We have a great contractor. Okay. We have a great team on the project, a great team from Mass Highway, and we've been working well with the residents and with the businesses, and things are going well. And hopefully in the spring, we'll be able to announce that we'll be on the 50% stage. And if that's the case, we're going to have a get-together on the site for all the residents and all the groups that are interested.
We'll be starting here at the south abutment, which is where we're standing right now. And we'll be proceeding out to Pier E, where we'll get on a barge and do a tour of the river piers. But this is the south end of the job where the bridge will actually land, and we'll be going over to the north end of the job where the bridge will span the water and land on the other side.
The way that you see here that we're walking on, this provides access for our crews to walk out to the various piers here that are in the mud flats. As you can see, the water is up now, and we can get to these different piers by boat. In a few hours from now, these will be all mudflat piers. You still need to be able to get to them without, doing damage to the mudflats. So we've constructed this access walkway. The men can get back and forth to the piers at any time during the day.
This is Pier A, the first pier out from the south abutment. As you can see, the pier is currently under construction right now. We're installing granite blocks for the scour. That's the area that's exposed to the tide and the ice. This will get a cap, and structural steel will eventually be set on top of this to make the span for the roadway. This is Pier B in the sequence here, and again, you'll see that the preceding pier, there's nothing in between here. This will all be a structural steel span. This is another pier very similar to the one at A in construction, and right now we're in the stage of just beginning the foundation for this pier after the cofferdam's been installed.
It's a confined area from an entry standpoint. It certainly exposes our people to falls and a variety of different hazards, but safety is our #1 priority, and we work very hard to see that our people work in a safe environment, and we do that with a variety of different training programs and managing our people on a day-by-day basis and providing them with an atmosphere that does not allow or accept the fact that they have to get hurt to get the job done. And as a result, we've got an excellent safety record as a result of that.
We've worked right now on this project approximately 75,000 work hours, and to this point we have no lost time incidents. We have one recordable. There was a minor incident, and all the work you see performed here, as Pete said, is planned in advance and executed so that we make sure that people are not going to get injured in performing the work. Obviously our goal is, we don't feel a project is a success unless we build it without hurting someone.
What the purpose was for this bridge, it provides access and egress for our people in a safe manner, and certainly allows our people to get off or out of the work area in case there was a potential hazard or a problem. But it also acts as a means of providing both water and electricity to each one of these cofferdams, so that it eliminates the use of generators and those kinds of things. And we believe that by having this kind of a setup, that we can provide these utilities to these different work areas in a much safer manner than we would if we had cords strung out all over the place and generators and other different types of equipment. it also allows us, if we have to, a little flexibility if we've got to work nights to plug in and provide lighting and all of those kinds of things to these different work areas. Yeah, we've had to work in some of these cofferdams at night, pour the seals in non-traffic periods, and do some of those kinds of activities off of scheduled work hours. So having the utilities and the resources right at the work site has been very, very efficient for us.
So will you be continuing the construction in the winter, and what about the weather?
Well, it's our intention to maintain a work activity throughout the winter this year. We will suspend work activities on some weather-sensitive items of work, particularly the concrete work, but essentially hope to complete enough of the substructure so that sometime around the 1st of February we can start erecting structural steel and be prepared to start pouring deck concrete sometime around early spring on the south end of the bridge.
So you'll continue?
Absolutely. Have to.
It's got to be quite challenging to work out here in the ice and the snow.
Well, it's something it's something that we're quite used to. Our people are acclimated to working in these types of environment. We take some added precautions and measures, and we're very careful about not putting our people in a position where they're going to get hurt as a result of being exposed to a harsh storm or something of that nature. But most work days we'll be out here doing our thing and getting the job done.
This is a dewatering pipe. What's happening right now is there is leakage through the steel sheet piles, and until we get a chance to seal them up, this pump is required to keep the inside of the cofferdam dry so we can continue on with the construction. This is the Pier E cofferdam. We just started dewatering this structure yesterday. This one here is a little unique in that there are actually bolts drilled down into the ledge to hold the concrete seal, which is a thick section of concrete, down from the buoyant factors of the tide.
This is amazing.
Yeah, it's a typical in the areas that we can't get the depth of the concrete that we want, and by using our engineers determine a formula to figure if we need these bolts to hold this thing down. And concrete may be it sounds heavy and all that, but it certainly is susceptible to buoyant forces. It can actually float. So this holds it down so we can build a pier on top of it.
Everything is mud flats from, about that boom, right, Link?
The mud flats actually start out right at the end of the footbridge.
So all the way out kind of diagonally across that way, everything turns to mud flats here at low tide. And right now we're at high tide, and we've got a lot of water, makes it easy to move around and have access. So one of the keys to working a site like this is taking advantage of the tides. And right now we have accessibility, and there are days obviously that we have absolutely no access, and we have to time our moves for the nighttime and times when we have high water.
So that's one of the reasons you're working at night, to
Absolutely.
accommodate the tides?
Absolutely. But there's a minimum amount of activity, work activities taking place here at night. There are some zoning restrictions in the area, and we have to be very sensitive to those. And we cannot proceed with a lot of the work activities of doing things at night unless we have special permission from the local governments.
This is Pier 1, cofferdam that's almost complete now. We just got the stems to put on the top. You can see down inside. The workers are right now removing the staging. Next week we'll actually be flooding this and then starting the work above the water line.
So what are we looking at here?
You're looking at the footing
Yep.
for this pier. This is the granite that's for the scour section of the shaft as it comes up. The next part that we're going to build here are the hollow shaft stems that'll go up to the hammerhead caps for the pier. Next week we'll be taking out this whale frame, this big steel frame that you see here. That'll all come out, all the staging will come out, and we'll let the water come back into the cofferdam. They will be working everything from up top here after that.
Wow. So it'll be a little easier going then?
Oh yes.
Yes.
There's a
So
lot
this
up
is
and
really-
down right now.
This is the hardest part, right?
Oh yes, it's a lot more difficult than it looks.
So when you begin any of these type of jobs, the beginning laying the groundwork's kind of
Yes,
the toughest?
your
and-
substructure for a bridge like this is your most difficult part, because you've got to contend with the water, digging into the unknown.
Right,
what
and
you're
if you
gonna
don't
find.
set this correctly, it could cause problems later on.
And the steel don't fit together.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we have our engineers doing layout here and the state engineers, and they're constantly checking each other back and forth to make sure that things are what they should be.
Right now, we're jogging the barge to wait. Evidently, there's a boat or something's going to be going through here. You can see the railroad draw is already open, and I'm sure immediately here the swing span will be opening. You can see the traffic stopped up on the bridge.
So you're out here working all day, you really see that traffic pile up here.
Absolutely.
How about during the summer or during the season? Unbelievable?
Yeah, it's nothing to see a dozen closures a day. And lots of, the timing always seems to be around peak traffic when they
Right.
manage to do it.
Yeah, tell us about this, the old type of bridge here.
This is a typical 1920s vintage swing span. Very simple idea. Just pivots on a center pin, goes right around, and allows the vessels to pass through. Not a lot of room, as you can see.
Yeah.
The new bridge will have a 50-foot clearance. Quite a dramatic difference, but it'll be a 50-foot difference at
And this isn't moving fast. I mean, this takes a while.
Exactly.
to open and
Exactly.
close.
No, it's not very speedy. There's about a 7-foot clearance on an extreme high tide, and like I say, an extreme high tide on the new bridge will be a 50-foot clearance. This is the temporary detour structure that right now the traffic's being diverted on. As you can see, we have a crane sitting up on the old bridge where we're actually installing a new pier right through the old bridge.
Yeah, tell us about that, where it's going right through the old bridge.
The locations were such, and the spans of the piers when the original design was done, it did force the interruption, if you will, of the old structure. So what we've had to do is just simply detour the traffic on this temporary bridge around that portion of the bridge that we need to disturb.
So Link, how's the access road worked? Is it traffic patterns okay?
Traffic patterns don't appear to be affected at all. It was
Drivers
designed
are
into the
adjusting?
contract. Yep, nobody seems to have any problem with it. That sailing vessel on the new bridge will be no problem to go right under it.
Temporary bypass that was installed so that we could work in the area where the old bridge was. And the old bridge and structure interfered with where the new bridge is going to exist at Pier number 6 in the north abutment. So in an effort to get that installed and not interrupt traffic, we built a temporary bypass, and that's where the traffic is now accessing the highway.
So there's been really no problems with traffic on the access road? Drivers are adjusting?
Oh, absolutely, and we found that the local people in both communities have been extremely cooperative. They're excited about the project and have worked very well in supporting our effort to get this bridge built. And we're doing everything we possibly can not to interfere with their day-to-day activities as well.
I wanted to ask you about your corporation's based in Maine?
We are headquartered in Pittsfield, Maine, that's
Right.
correct. We work in 10 states throughout the Northeast and have area offices in northern New England, in Pittsfield, Portland, Maine, Enfield, Connecticut, and in Baltimore, Maryland. And we work throughout the Northeast in about 10 states.
Must be rewarding. You see your work, and there it is. That's what you did.
We work in a variety of construction projects, a lot of bridge and highway type projects, but also are involved in the utility business, in the nuclear power industry, and also are very involved in the pulp and paper industry in the Northeast. And we're very diversified. We have about 1,500 employees, open shop company that is employee owned, and we have about 45 ongoing projects throughout that 10-state region.
Could you tell us about this access here?
Yes, this is the access for the job. It's at the east abutment, which you can see in the background. It's a temporary bridge which comes out here. We have a crane on it, as you can see. We use it for offloading material that's being excavated from the cofferdams. And we also bring materials like rebar, granite, etc. in here and load it onto barges going out to the different piers that are being constructed. The steel from the bridge is going to be erected from the south abutment and come in and tie into the main bridge itself right out here between piers C and D.
So that's going to connect over here?
Right. This will allow traffic to come over the bridge and get off here into Salem until such time that the bypass road here, the bridge connects into, is completely built going upriver.